Okay, next up is Wayne Stargardt, again, Vice President of Operations at Numerex. Wayne has more than 20 years of experience in the M2M and wireless data industry. Before joining Numerex, he spearheaded the development and launch of wireless data and vertical market telemetry systems, services at RFM, Sensor Logic, WebLink Wireless, PageMart, and Pinpoint Communications. Wayne was also named one of the 50 most influential individuals in the wireless industry by Wireless Week magazine in 1996. Wayne is a Bachelor and Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering from MIT, a Bachelor of Science in Management from the MIT Sloan School, and an MBA from the Harvard Business School. So please join me in welcoming Wayne Stargardt.
As George said, I'm with Numerex. Numerex is a MVNO that is locally based in Atlanta. We've been in business for almost 20 years and public for most of that. While Verizon, Rich's company, Verizon, his parent is a real MVNO, a real mobile network operator, we're just a pretend one. But the other thing that Numerex does do is that we're also a system integrator, and that's probably going to be the core of what I'm going to talk about tonight. So every M2M application consists of essentially three components: some mobile device, a network service to provide communications to and from the mobile device, and then a back-end application that makes sense of the data from the mobile device and turns it into useful information. Numerex will provide any or all parts of that three-part system, which we refer to as DNA. And I'm going to talk about some applications tonight where we have done a significant part of that. So I'm going to talk about three applications where M2M is used in the supply chain. And supply chain is a relatively new application for M2M. It's because the price points of service and devices have started to enter a realm where tracking assets in the supply chain is cost effective in some cases. So the first application I show in the upper right is a M2M device embedded in a high-end plastic pallet. And these pallets are leased. And there's a leasing company whose business is to provide pallets to manufacturers, have those pallets carry goods from the manufacturer through the supply chain all the way through distributors, retail depots, retail point of sale, and then recover those pallets back and reuse them because they have a 5 to 7 year average effective life. And like most things in the supply chain, the real payoff is improving asset utilization. So things that you try to do in the supply chain is reduce the overall cycle time. In this case, it's an average of 6 weeks. Reduce the dwell time at any point in the supply chain. And in this case, the further you get from the manufacturer, the less economically incented is that point to participate in getting the pallet back to the depot on time. So you try and establish metrics and manage the different elements of the supply chain, and you have to have data to do that, and that's where M2M comes into place. The next application is the one below that, which is a classic manufacturer to assembler manufacturing operation supply chain. So the application is that the assembler has specialized containers and pallets for sub-assemblies that are manufactured in other locations, either by separate factories of that company or by independent suppliers. And those containers are somewhere in $1,000 in value, and their purpose is to take things, and here we show engines, take things from the factory to the assembly point and protect the equipment while it's in transit. And then they go back to a depot, and then they get sent back out to the appropriate manufacturer, which could be there could be 3 different manufacturers manufacturing that part. So it could go to any one of those. Again, reducing cycle time is important. Minimizing the dwell time at a place where it's not supposed to be. So you unload the pallet in the assembly point, and they put it over in the corner, and they forget to pick it up and send it back to the depot. And then another metric that we also track in supply chain are misused or misplaced assets. Obviously, nobody's stealing specialized engine carrying containers, but plant managers have a lot of things to worry about, and getting the containers back is like number 27 on their list. And so sometimes they need a little assistance in helping improve the utilization of these expensive transport containers. And the last application I'm going to show is tracking of waste containers. Now here, the difference is that the container is like over $2,000 in cost, and the contents is garbage, so it's worth nothing. So, tracking the cycle time of these devices is 3 to 12 months. It's not like the 6 weeks of some of these other things that are moving around much faster. They also have, though, a problem with record keeping, misuse of their product, and sometimes these are even stolen. And part of the, it's the same metrics we're tracking, different parameters, different cycle times, different dwell times, but you have to put together a solution that fits the specific need of the application. And I showed you 3 different applications because the reason why system integrator is involved, because the specific solution is different in every case. Sometimes we solve these problems with satellite communications technology. These 3 happen to be cellular applications. Sometimes we're doing the location technology using GPS. All of these devices also, the first 2 also had RFID installed, but that doesn't help you when you're not near a reader. But there's different ways of locating these assets other than using straight GPS. And so we'll use those, and as you can imagine from looking at these applications, the battery life requirements, while they're all battery powered, battery life requirements are all different. Some of those have to last 5 years because it's built into the middle of a pallet that's going to itself last 5 years, and there's no way to change the battery. The other things that are different in every application is, how much location accuracy do you need? When you're tracking a waste container, you need to know that it's on the job site or on the customer site, which, where the radius of that may be a quarter to a half mile. But when you're trying to track a specialized shipping container that may be have been shoved over into the side of the factory, you need to have much more accurate locating technology, and it has to work indoors. Anyway, so it gives you a profile of how M2M is being used in the supply chain, some of the different applications, and the variety of technologies that we're using to solve that problem. Thank you.